I was born in Israel, born and raised in Israel. I learned about blues in Israel and music in general in Israel as I started playing very early. I think I was 6 or 7 years old. I played clarinet. That was my first instrument. I studied and played it in an orchestra. So maybe my first knowledge of the blues, without even knowing that it's blues, was maybe through some classical and some older jazz, uh, which I played on clarinet as part of the orchestra. When I picked up the guitar, my brother had one, so I just picked it up and started playing. I was singing already, so it was a better choice for me to accompany myself playing guitar. With a clarinet, it wasn't really doable. And as a guitarist, if you listen to whoever, I was young, about 13, I believe. So you listen to some pop, some rock, like maybe different things, and you always hear about the blues guitarists because they carved the way to a lot of the rock and pop stuff. I switched very, very early on. I heard of B.B. King, Albert King, uh, T-Bone Walker, Robert Johnson, Albert Collins, Freddie King. These were the first five because of some of the rock or rock blues that I've been introduced to. As you know, it crossed over more. They mentioned these names. The first ones I heard of, I thought it was music. I did not know the genres very much in Israel. I was from a small place in Israel, very rural area. There were like 80 families where I grew up. On the radio, sometimes you would hear like Louis Armstrong or Ray Charles. The more popular, the jazziest side of blues, or the blues, the more orchestrated, should we say it that way. About Robert Johnson, I think it was a line of notes from an Eric Clapton CD that my older brother had, and maybe another music teacher that taught guitar in the little area told me about Albert King, Wes Montgomery. So, and about, I think I learned about Stevie Ray Vaughan, who they always mentioned Albert King, B.B. King, Robert Johnson, T-Bone Walker, and these names. I'm like, if they sound like this and I like it, like I remember rambling on my mind. All of a sudden it said, there's a version of Robert Johnson. So I had to track down the Robert Johnson and the B.B. King, which in Israel at that time, it's not that I'm very old, but at that time you couldn't just press, there was no internet. So I had to I said that I had to cross the field. I remember this, walk through a field in the rural area, catch the bus at 14, take it an hour to Tel Aviv, take another bus in Tel Aviv, another 30 minutes to get to the record store. I will never forget that. And I said, I'm sorry, do you have a collection, a CD of Albert King? I was a very shy boy. I'm like, no. I'm like, but I would really like to get it. And say, well, we can order it. You'll have it in 30 days. We'll order it from the States. Can you do that? I remember them actually calling me back 21 days later about something like this, telling me, Guy, I'm like, yes, we have the CD, you can come get it. I was so happy. I told my mother and my father, I'm going. So I crossed the field, walked to the bus station, took the bus to the city, took another bus in the city. I remember getting the CD, paying for it. It was I don't know how much it cost, 80 shekels, 90. It was a lot of money for. I got it. I remember. I still have this CD, by the way. It's a double CD of Albert King, the complete Albert King on Rhino, actually. And I got home with it. I waited. I opened it. I read the line of notes, saw him with a flying V guitar. I'm like, what? This is what? It was really, and I read everything, where he was born, what he was doing, while he was playing in the background. And then that was it was an experience. It would be the same with the Robert Johnson or with the B.B. King, of course, so with any of the names I mentioned before. So this is how I got my start, really, from listening. Somebody would mention a name. Like you asked me about my influences, I'll tell you, well, Wes Montgomery is really the best, or B.B. King is something special. So you hear that from somebody that you like, and I figured I'd better go to the source, because if they are good, the source could be even more authentic, more real, and I can listen to it and maybe be better or do something more true, more real. I got here when I was 16 years old as part of over a touring band. I came here for a 3 or 4 months tour in the United States and Canada, mostly singing, playing less. I returned to Israel, completed high school. I served in the army, and after, long story short, I moved here once again after the 16-year-old tour at 21. I was 21 years old. My first stop, I was in Chicago when I was 16 years old as a part of the tour. It was summertime, so it was a lot friendlier and nice here in the city as far as the weather. At 21, when I actually came here to play, to look around, I was Memphis, Tennessee was my first stop. That's where I came to. I spent time in Memphis. Then I went to Louisiana, to New Orleans. And from New Orleans, I took the train, actually, with my guitar and my suitcase, and came to Chicago. And I've been here since. I think I'm gonna be as honest as I can about that, because influences tend to clutter the more you listen and experience things. I think it's mostly from records and things that I heard even younger. As I was playing in an orchestra when I was really young, doing mostly by ear, really, even on the clarinet, things sink in, and certain ideas, if it was Brazilian music that I heard as a child too, the way it sunk in, and I started blending this into my music more, a bigger band sound and arrangement with the horn, a jazzier sound, the soul sound that I bring on. As I do remember Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson being one of the first things I heard around the same time I heard B.B. King and Robert Johnson, even before. These things all blended. For some reason, these three elements of the blues, jazz, and soul had a more direct link to me. I know some have with the blues and the rock, and I hear it, I accept it, of course. But the three elements that I showed before were strong. Somehow they sunk in a little bit more. And you're right, you do hear these things. And my biggest influences could dance the line, really. If you listen to Albert King, the band is very soul. You talked about Memphis. It's a lot of Memphis sound in Albert and B.B. King. These are two of my biggest influences. Wes Montgomery on the guitar, there's no better. So I can't, I listen to all these things. João Gilberto from Brazil, Count Basie, and Robert Johnson is huge, and Lightning Hopkins is huge on me. So is Errol Garner and Ray Charles. Anybody that heard me some will know. So I don't really try to do it. It's just the things that I really loved listening to, they all sunk in and they come out at different times. I do remember the Albert King and the Robert Johnson, the complete Robert Johnson, is that I remember a B.B. King CD, a certain collection that I really liked, that a friend, I think, gave to me for my 14th birthday, if I'm not mistaken. And a T-Bone Walker that I found that way. A Freddie King. I remember him like it was yesterday. A friend came to me when we were 18. He got there at the army in Israel and said, look, I found this thing. You always talked about Freddie King. We never could get his album. I found this in a city up north in Haifa, and he brought it to me. He's one of my best friends. It was a collection, Hideaway. I remember that. Ray Charles I heard in Israel on the radio. My parents a little bit, and I had a very close friend who played bass for me that his parents would listen to that, and we really liked it. But it sounded really orchestrated and big. I did not know how to accomplish that with like a band at high school. We have two guitars, bass, drums. It was a little above us. When I came to Chicago, it was cold here my first winter. I was not used to it. It was difficult, and I got a Ray Charles box set that became my best friend, really. I heard it a lot, and I realized how great things were there. The arrangements, the depth of things, both musically and in the arrangement and also in the delivery. And I really wanted to be more influenced in that. That's when I also, in the States, here in Chicago, got into more Charlie Parker, especially Wes Montgomery. Things that I knew before, but they never became part of me until I came to Chicago. T-Bone Walker, Gatemouth Brown, Albert Collins, I heard more in these things. I kind of heard in Memphis more. And I got deeper into Albert King there because of his history with Stax. So the Stax sound really started getting bigger then. But Chicago, since I came here, I heard a lot of things. Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Otis Rush. These are things that I was not aware of as much as I started being aware of when I came to Chicago. The future of the blues. That's a heavy question. Uh, I do see a future. I'm gonna tell you what I see right now and what I think and what I would like to believe. You know, I hope they somewhat meet together, the three of them. I do see a blues as being played as a lot of blues rock. If I'm trying to put, I'm not good at the genres. I really see music as music. Anybody that sees me I think, will hear that too. With the blues, the jazz, the soul, the pop, whatever people call it. I play it when Brazil. When it's good, I'll just try to play it. So, but since we're trying to talk about blues, I wish that I hope, and I would like for it to be great music and regarded as such. I have a feeling that people put the name blues and then certain people get scared away. You know, if I don't know if it's an age group or you hear it, you think one thing that's not actually true. So I think if it will be regarded as great music, it will be able to be played for a larger audience, which will be wonderful for the audience to be receiving such great music, regardless of the name of it, of the genre. And it'll be great for the musicians who decide to dedicate themselves to it. I see it as a quality thing, you know. I would like, you know, when I heard the great ones, they became great in my mind because they were great. And there were some that are not that great. Some of them were famous in playing blues, and to me, I do not enjoy the music so much. I don't see it as an opportunity. I don't really see it as a problem. I do think that the problem I see is people drift to other kinds of music for the fame and not for the quality and the soul of the music. You know, I'll be honest about it. If you went to music because of the quality and the soul of the music, there will be a lot more people. It doesn't matter black, white, gray, pinks, or blue. They would get into playing blues, jazz, soul, the deep music, other than playing music and trying to pose at cameras. You know, we talked about hip hop, pop, indie, which is kind of big. There's nothing wrong with anything, but there's more of a commitment to quality, to learning your instrument, to playing really better.